Hello everyone. I decided to do this video about pronouns and misgendering and dead naming people. Usually within the LGBTQIA plus community, there are some cisgendered people that get misgendered and stuff as well. But normally it's a trans and non-binary thing that, occurs a lot. But I want to start by saying this video is not aimed at any of my subscribers, and it is not aimed at the 78.7% of returning viewers that have not subscribed, which, by the way, you should really consider hitting that subscribe button. That would do this channel so well if you did. But pronouns are a big thing, and sometimes pronouns save a life. There is a lot that goes on behind the scenes for a person that is trans or gender non-conforming, non-binary, or no gender at all. They always think, oh, it's just a word, it doesn't matter. But it really does. And I just spent a good chunk of my time standing up for a trans woman that was being misgendered on purpose in a chat. Now, I'm not going to say which chat I was in. A lot of you will know because you witnessed it. But this has nothing to do with that creator. It has nothing to do with the regular everyday chat members. It has nothing to do with the moderators, because everybody on that channel is loving, caring, kind, very respectful to the community. I've seen the majority stand up for community members. Never been an issue. But for some reason tonight, this one person was picking on this trans lady. And it irked me. I won't lie about it. It freaking irked me. Because of the simple fact, this trans woman was on a panel talking about being cyberbullied and, called names and just a whole bunch of stuff. And I'm not about drama, so I'm totally not even going into what this lady was talking about. But she was voicing her opinion. And this one person in chat kept saying he. And I kept correcting it. And after the first 3 times of correcting it, I pretty much knew I was correcting it for nothing, because, sometimes you just can't get it through to somebody else's head. You're doing this wrong. Well, and this person said that they have visual impairment and mental illness. That could be true. That could be very true. I'm not here to say that they don't. Honestly, they probably do. But putting an S in front of the word he for one person, or let me rephrase that, not putting the S in front of the word he for one person, while being able to put the S in front of the word he for many other people in the chat, that's not a visual impairment. That's not a mental illness. If you are incapable of seeing the letter S, or you have a phobia of the letter S, or whatever, then you would literally be calling everybody he. You would be saying heat instead of sheet. You would be doing a whole bunch of different stuff. This was downright misgendering, and, well, I can't say dead naming in this case because they didn't dead name this person, but it wasn't a deliberate attempt, and it irked me. I will not deny it. It irked me. And everybody that subscribes here, and everybody in that chat, and pretty much every other chat that I go to, knows I am part of the community. Not everybody may know exactly which part of the community I am, and that's fine. It hasn't come up. I don't hide it. But I will say that my pronouns are he, him, and his, as well as they, them, and their. Or they, their, them. But my pronouns are what is called rolling pronouns. I will go over that here in just a little bit, once I finish my little rant here. It's at 6:20. I will keep my rant under 10 minutes, I promise. The point of it is, when somebody purposely misgenders somebody, that could be pushing the other person to popping pills, cutting themselves, driving off a cliff, jumping off a bridge, jumping off a building, hanging themselves in their room. You never know at what limit that other person will stop at. And if I have to keep standing up for people, knowing that maybe they will have that handful of pills, or maybe they will drive out to that bridge and be sitting on the rails and then remember, nah, this isn't worth it because somebody said something. If I can be that somebody that stops that act, then I will do it 1,000 times over every single day. And it's not just for the community. It is for anybody that is being pushed to that limit for any reason whatsoever. Because that's who I am. And I'm not going to let somebody else's deliberate attempts turn me away from being who I am. And I do not even know if that trans woman knows that I was in the chat saying she every time that other person put he. I do not know if that trans woman even knows I exist. That's not the point. I don't care. I did it because it was the right thing to do. And there was a couple of other people in the chat that was also correcting. And I would like to thank them for standing up, for backing me, or maybe I was backing them. I really don't know. I know I put it out there a lot. Okay, so I'm simply just going to go over a few basics of different pronouns and gender and some community issues. So what is a pronoun? A pronoun is a word that is used in place of a noun. A noun is a person, place, or thing. What is gender? Gender is how a person sees themselves in the world. When someone's gender lines up with how they were assigned at birth, they are cisgender. When a person's gender is different from what they were assigned at birth, they are transgender or gender nonconforming. Genders include a person, a woman, a man, both a man and a woman, or neither a man or a woman. There are an infinite number of genders. Some of those the most common gender identities are woman, man, transgender, non-binary or genderqueer, androgen, agender, gender fluid, demigirl, demiboy. There's so many more. How do pronouns connect to a gender? Pronouns are a way to describe someone's gender. Some of the pronouns are she, her, hers, he, him, his. The singular form of they, them, theirs. Then there's also it, its, itself, they, them, their, or they, their, theirs. Some people use multiple sets of pronouns. They are called rolling pronouns, just like mine. Like I had mentioned, mine is he, him, his, they, them, their, and may be used interchangeably within a sentence, or may be used based on how someone expresses their gender. An example: Roman uses they, them, theirs, and he, him, his pronouns. A sentence that uses both types of pronouns and his name. Roman got a perfect score on their math test and is proud of himself. Neopronouns are pronouns that have been newly created to describe someone in a gender-neutral way. They, their, theirs, or they, them, their are two examples of neopronoun sets. An example of this: Aubrey uses they, them, their pronouns. Aubrey's favorite holiday is Halloween because they gets to dress up as their favorite superheroes. What is misgendering? Often misgendering happens by accident. Not in the case earlier, but for the most part it does happen by accident. When we meet a new person, sometimes we don't know their pronouns. It's wise to never assume pronouns based on appearance. If you don't know someone's pronouns when speaking about them or to them, use their name in place of a pronoun. If you want to know someone's pronouns, do not ask them directly. It can be unsafe for transgender people to have their pronouns questioned. Instead, introduce yourself and give your pronouns. This can create trust between you both, and the person may share their pronouns in return. If they do not, go back to step one and just use their name. What is dead naming? Dead naming is an act of calling a transgender person by an incorrect name. Often this is a name that they were given at birth and no longer use. In order to not dead name someone, you need to know their current name and commit to using it. Sometimes you can find this information out because they will tell you while introducing themselves. Other times a friend or family member or coworker may tell you someone's name, or it can be on their social media. Now, I will add that not everybody social media is the name that they want to be called. Sometimes they have to continue using their birth name because of family, friends, pastors, ex-co-workers, whatever, that they want to keep in touch with, and it's not safe for them to be out. So they may actually have a second social media account where they can just be themselves and be comfortable. When you know someone's correct name, make sure to use it even when describing past events or stories about that person. It is never okay or necessary to use a person's dead name. For an example, you grew up with somebody. They come out as trans. Let's say female to male. And you want to tell a story of something that happened on the playground in 3rd grade. Now, this person is out as the name that they chose, their male name or gender neutral name. they are no longer, let's say, Sally. So you want to tell this story. Instead of saying, one day on the playground, Sally chose to turn a flip on the monkey bars and smacked Robert in the nose with her foot. Well, the people you're telling this story to doesn't know this person as Sally. They know this person by this new name. So, your third grade story would be, well, back in third grade, me and Zane was on the playground and he turned a flip on the monkey bars and kicked Robert in the face. It was hilarious. Nobody really got hurt, but Robert was stunned, blah, blah, blah. See, that is how you can not dead name somebody that you have known from the past. Sometimes trans youth will change their name several times. This is done because they are trying to figure out what name feels right to them. Someone might have a different name every time you see them, and this is okay because they are coming into who they are. One day it will level out. So what do you do if you accidentally misgender or dead name someone? It is important to always give a quick apology and correct yourself if you catch your mistake. If you or someone else realizes you misgendered someone after the moment, you can work to not do it in the future, promise to catch yourself if you misgender in the future, or give a quick apology and recognition to the person that you misgendered. There is no need to make excuses or give long-ass apologies. Okay, nobody got time for that shit. How important is it to use a person's correct pronouns and names? Several studies show that when you use someone's correct pronouns and name, it drastically decreases that person's thoughts of suicide, depression, and anxiety. This is especially true for trans youth. That's what I was saying earlier. Standing up for somebody that has been misgendered or dead named, you may be on their mind once they get to that bridge. Standing up for a person that is being misgendered or dead named, you might save their life later when they're home alone with that handful of pills, no one else around, and they're remembering that trauma that they experienced out and about in that group of people or in that place or in that chat room online. But then they click and they remember, but so-and-so stood up for me. So-and-so gets it. And then those pills might just go back in that drawer. Or that gun might go back in the case. Or they might get off that ledge of that building and go take a warm shower and just chill for the rest of the night. It's literally that simple to save a life. Very, very simple. Very important. What if you don't want to use the person's correct name or pronouns? How would you feel if somebody constantly called you the wrong name and refused to change it? Misgendering and dead naming someone without correcting is very disrespectful and harmful. It can make trans people feel dysphoric or even result in unsafe experiences such as exposing them to anti-trans violence. That is a whole other video. That right there alone, that paragraph, that's a whole other video that I could be doing. If you decide you do not want to use someone's correct names or pronouns, you should avoid talking about them or to them. Just avoid them altogether. They don't need you in their life. You should not explain to someone why you have made this decision. Nobody literally cares why anybody chooses to just simply be an asshole. Explaining why you won't use someone's name or pronouns shows that you have chosen to invalidate their identity, and it is an act of violence. it is actually listed as a hate crime. Still having trouble understanding the importance of misgendering and dead naming? You might not understand the importance of pronouns and chosen names because you haven't personally had the experience of having your name or pronouns invalidated. To be a better ally, you should first educate yourself. You can learn more about dead naming and misgendering by researching them online, reading books or articles, taking training courses, and speak to cisgender people who have a better understanding. And if you have problems with people misgendering you or dead naming you, share this video to them because I am calling them out right now. What are some other ways I can show that I am an ally to transgender people and gender nonconforming people? Add your pronouns to your email signature and on your social media accounts to take the weight off of trans and gender nonconforming people when it comes to sharing pronouns. When you see someone being dead named or misgendered, privately speak to the person who has done the dead naming or misgendering and teach them how to do it better next time. Directly support transgender and nonconforming people. Read books and articles written by transgender and nonconforming people. Post information on social media for others to learn from. Speak to your workplace operations or human resources staff about implementing safe training and practices for all employees. Always listen to transgender and gender nonconforming people when they trust you enough to tell you about the injustices that they face. And take accountability for your mistakes, assumptions, or thoughts that you have had in the past regarding transgender or gender nonconforming people and the LGBTQIA plus community at large. There are some gender neutral language that you can normalize as pronouns. Instead of saying boys and girls or ladies and gentlemen, you can say everyone. Instead of fireman or policeman, you can say firefighter or police officer. Instead of hey guys, you can say hello everyone or hey all, hey folks. There's plenty of ways to stand up for people. You go to school and your teacher gets married and Miss Johnson becomes Miss Williams overnight. The next day, the whole class starts calling her by her new married name. No one questions it. You get a freaking Pokemon, they evolve, you call it a new name. No one questions it. But when it comes to people and people harming people, it slips by. There are a lot of people that will stand up. You know, I've seen that tonight in that other chat. There is others, you know, saying she every time that person said he. And it's people like that that really make a difference. So the next time you meet somebody new and you're not sure how they identify, you know, just introduce yourself and include your pronouns. That way, at a future time when you see that person, you'll just know what to call them. You'll know how they identify. It's worth learning about other people. It shows that you care. It shows that you're kind. It shows that you have a big heart. That you're accepting. That you're respectful. And you never know what that other person has went through. You never know. Be the reason that that person gets off the ledge, not the reason they get on it. Have a good night, everybody.